This is my tabletop arcade cabinet. It is all 100% designed by myself and mostly built by myself. I did have help from people with tools. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start at the front and kind of work my way around it. These are the buttons and joystick on the control panel. This was a like $20 eBay special just button joystick kit. It is, micro switched joystick, and these buttons have LEDs inside of them, so they'll light up when the game is turned on. But these buttons basically are glorified mechanical keyboard switches. I'll put up a photo, but basically inside of these are just mechanical keyboard switches. I think they're blues or something, I don't know. The joystick is mounted underneath. It's got a bracket that it is attached to, and that is basically just secured to the bottom side of this wood panel here with nuts and bolts. So I just drilled and mounted it that way. These guys, we just drilled large enough holes. They come with these little plastic rings that are threaded, so you just screw them into place. And they're really nice feeling. They're good for the money. They work. They come with a little USB adapter that will plug into a computer. This is the LCD panel. It's 7 inches diagonal. It came out of one of those car backup cam screen kits. It was like $50 or something, I don't know. The reason I used this is because I already had it lying around, so I took that apart and discarded the old controller board and got a new one that had HDMI on it, just to reuse stuff I already had so I didn't have to go and buy a new screen. Although I have designed this whole module here to come out, and if I wanted to put a bigger LCD panel that was like 4:3 aspect ratio in here, just to kind of make it more better, I could do that, and I might do that at some point. But for now, this tiny 16:9 does the job just fine, and it looks, fairly sharp because of that HDMI controller board I put in there. So this is what the side looks like. It's, like I said, designed to mimic the style of a early 80s midway cabinet. So it's got the tapering in the front, and then on the top downwards. I'll put up a picture of like a Miss Pac-Man or a Galaga cabinet so you can kind of get what I was looking for. Also, if I pick this up, on the top, you can see that it comes over the actual top, like it's, raised above it, and that's also how those midway cabinets were. This is the rear of the machine, and the same plywood that makes up the screen bezel is velcroed to the back here. You can see there is the power cord coming out here, and this is attached with Velcro, so to get to the inside you just lift it right off. And it is a mess in here. It needs to be cable managed a little bit, but it all works just fine. So this right here is the HDMI controller board for the LCD. You can see the ribbon cable going through a little slot cut through what the screen is mounted to. This is the power supply. It's just a 4-outlet surge protector, and I just have the cord coming out the back. There's a little gap when you put the panel on to allow the cord to come out. This whole thing is powered, you can see it in here, by a Raspberry Pi 3 that runs RetroPie and has all the games and stuff on it. Now you can't see it, I'll put up a picture of it, but there is, plugged into that is a promotional item that Pringles had back in the day. It is a speaker that just has a headphone jack wire coming out of it. and that's plugged into the Raspberry Pi and provided sound. It was originally battery operated, but since it ran on about 5 volts, I modded it to hook up to USB, so I didn't have to change the batteries on it or deal with switching it on and off every time I wanted to do it. So when I hit this switch here, when it's plugged in, everything powers up all at once and you don't have to do anything individually. Also hooked up to the Pi is a powered USB hub. I was running into some weird issues with too much power or something. It was making the Pi go all crazy. So that solved it. Hooked up to that USB hub is the USB adapter for the joysticks and buttons. And then also I have a wireless dongle for this keyboard here hooked up in case I need to go into the command line or move files around or something, change settings. The USB adapter also powers the LEDs within the buttons, so they light up, and that's how that gets power. That's about it for the inside. It's kind of a mess. I need to cable manage it a little bit, but I'll do that later because functionally it's fine. So one thing I thought I would briefly mention is that I plan to put artwork on the sides and the marquee for this thing. I will probably just get some sticker paper and go to Kinko's or whatever and get that done. I'll probably just mash together a bunch of arcade art and the RetroPie logo and stuff. So I'll probably make a little short update if people care about that. But let's go ahead and boot the thing up and see what it looks like when it's powered on. So in the back, you can slide the panel off, push the switch, and as you can see, the lights all came on. So there you can see RetroPie kinda loading in there, and it's all booted up. So I've got the screen flipped just in the RetroPie settings. It keeps resetting my camera. That's annoying. Okay, so now that we're booted in here, you can hear that clicking. That's the speaker in there. So let's try Galaga. We'll go in there and it'll load up. I'm mostly using MAME 2010 for arcade ROMs, except for some of them don't work, so I use MAME 2003 for those that don't work. Loads up just fine. So the front buttons are for inserting a coin. This, you push that, it puts in a coin. This is player 1 start, this is player 2 start, this is button 1 and button 2. And then to exit, you would push both of these front 2 at the same time to get back to the RetroPie menu. So if I push this green button here, it should start a 1-player game. And then the joystick moves left and right, and it does button things. So, play it for a minute. So push the front 2 buttons, and that exits back to the menu. Yeah, we'll try Tempest. It's a vector game, and I know it's supposed to be played with a spinner, but it's, you know, it's playable enough with a joystick if you have it set correctly. It doesn't actually look too bad on this screen. You know, obviously a real vector CRT is going to look leagues better, but, you know, whatever. But we can go in, and, you know, it works. I'm getting sucked in. We'll try Miss Pac-Man. So again, it'll load in, starts the game. God, I've been playing this game since I was 2 years old, and I'm still god-awful. Whatever, I'm not really trying. Like that matters anyway. Let's see if I can finish the level. Okay. Alright, I concede. Yeah, that's basically it. Here's a overview shot of the thing, you know, running. And to shut it down, you hit the right button on the front, brings up the menu. You can go down to quit and then either restart or shut down, and it will power down the Raspberry Pi. And then once the Raspberry Pi is shut down, it'll say no signal. And since the buttons are hooked up to a powered hub, they stay on. So you go into the back and you flip the surge protector off. And that's that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And I will do my best to put most of the parts that I used to make this thing in the description so that you can maybe even build something similar yourself. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.